This is Girl Take Note, a podcast for women who are looking to turn their dreams into reality. Hey guys, welcome back to Girl Take Note. I am your host, Shaunie, and today we're going to get into something that I know is going to resonate with like many of us. And we're going to be talking about the daily habits of high achievers. You know, kind of like just what sets them apart, what routines drive their success, and how can you start, like incorporating habits into your own daily life. And so whether you're trying to take your career to the next level, build a business, or just simply develop more intentional daily routines, I want you to go ahead and grab your notebook because I'm about to drop some gems on you that you just don't want to miss. So make sure you do it. So let's jump right into this episode. Actually, before we jump into this episode, I want to say something because today is Sunday. I'm recording on a Sunday, and I normally don't give the days I'm recording on simply because when these do air. But today is Sunday, and it's one of those days where I feel like just lazy. You ever have one of those days where you get up and you just feel like, I don't want to do anything today. I don't want to do anything. I don't feel like recording. I don't feel like doing any of this stuff, but you do it because one, it is just so natural for me to do this, but also I get those days where I just don't feel like doing anything. I feel like sitting on the couch, eating some snacks and watching and binging on my favorite shows on Netflix or Hulu or HBO Max or Peacock because there's so many to choose from. But also today is one of those days where I get to share with you guys that today is my episode 99. So my next episode that will be coming out this Thursday will be my 100th episode. And I am so excited about that. I cannot believe I hit this milestone. Like that was definitely one of my goals to make it to 100 episodes because I feel like a lot of people feel like you make it to 100 episodes. You are like a true podcaster now, right? You're in this thing and there's no turning back from here. And so I'm really happy to have this episode air this week. And I don't know, it feels like a little surreal for me, but to know that I did 100 episodes, it's like crazy. But I did it and I'm so excited about this podcast. I'm so excited seeing where this podcast is going and all the different things that I want to do, the different type of content that I want to curate on this podcast moving forward from this 100 episode. I want to really try to curate content that I know you guys as my listeners and those who watch on YouTube just really want to see, really want to hear from certain entrepreneurs and how their mindset and their personal growth and how they turn their passions into profits because it's always something I've been very fascinated with. And so I'm excited to see where this is going. I'm excited to see the future of the Girl Take Note podcast and what my goals are to actually be one of those big podcasts on like iHeartRadio or Sirius or Spotify, to really get one of those big deals. That is truly my overall goal for this podcast. So I'm always working towards that on a daily basis. And so to have this kind of like feeling of like, okay, Shaunie, you don't feel like doing anything. You got on your little lounge wear. There's no makeup on. For those who watch on YouTube, like I have no makeup on. I'm in my lounge wear and I didn't try to get all made up for this show because it's really just one of those lazy days, but also one of those exciting days. So I thought I'd share that with you guys because I'm coming up on an episode and I've been sharing with my friends and I'm like, man, I can't believe I did 100 episodes. This is crazy, but I actually made it happen. And so for those of you who are aspiring to be podcasters, I would encourage you to just keep going, no matter if any of you feel like nobody's listening, your download numbers are not really matching the content that you're producing. Just keep going because you would definitely get there. You will see growth over time, but you have to be dedicated to it. And it has to be something that you're passionate about. I'm really passionate about my podcast. I'm passionate about the people I talk to on this podcast, the content I serve, my solo episodes where I get to personally talk to you guys and share my personal journeys, my highs, my lows, my ups and downs, and all the things that I wrote around in my mind. And so I'm appreciative of these episodes, but I can just tell you to keep going. And also at the end of this episode, I have something I want to share with those who are looking to start a podcast. So I'll make sure to try to remember to share that with you guys. But let's go ahead and get into this episode of high achievers because I aspire to be a high achiever. But first, before we can dive into the habits of themselves, I guess, let's get clear on what it means to be a high achiever. And we often hear this term, I think, thrown around, but we say to ourselves sometimes, what does it actually look like? Right? And a high achiever is someone who consistently performs at a high level. And they're just not successful on occasion. They maintain that success over time. And so high achievers they're disciplined, focused, and driven. But here's the thing. Success isn't magic. It's not something people just stumble into. It's the result of daily habits. And I mean intentional habits that over time compound into something extraordinary. And that's what successful high achievers do differently for those who are just really not into honing in on what they're doing, really not into building a profitable and sustainable business. So let's take a look at some of the habits that make high achievers so, I guess, achieving, right? And one of those things, and we've talked about this before in my last episode or in a few episodes, we've talked about habits. So one of the habits is that they wake up early. And I know we've all heard it a million times, right? Wake up early, get a head start on your day. But here's the reason I think this keeps coming up in conversations about success is that high achievers understand the value of time. And I think that's what it really comes down to. It's the value of time. And they know that the quiet early morning hours are gold for productivity. So when you wake up early, you're giving yourself that extra space to set the tone for the day, whether it is exercise, meditation, journaling, or simply just having some uninterrupted time to plan out your goals. And the early morning gives you the mental clarity to start strong. And I think that's so important. And actually, I found a study that actually showed that people who wake up early are not only more productive, but they're also generally happier and more optimistic. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that you need to join the 5 a.m. club, right? You don't have to join the 5 a.m. club tomorrow. And I've said that before. A lot of times your daily habits and waking up early doesn't mean you have to wake up so early, but it does start with just like 15 minutes earlier than you usually would have to get up, right? And that can have a very powerful impact on you. So when it comes to setting a habit of waking up early, and I know some people who are like, you know what, Shaunie, I'm not a morning person. It's just not something I can do. But if you just start doing them in small increments, when you wake up 15 minutes earlier to start your day, the next week you might be able to wake up 30 minutes earlier. 20 minutes, then 30, then 40. Next thing you know, you're up an hour earlier, right? If you could just build upon the habit of getting up earlier and spending that time with yourself and being able to set out your day, plan your day out and get some work done before your house gets too crazy, especially if you are a stay-at-home mom or even if you're a working mom, you definitely want to get up a little bit earlier because once your kids are up, once the house is up, then everything just goes so fast and then you don't really be able to get a chance to carve that time for you. But also I talk about on the other side of waking up early and building that type of morning routine. You can also be a stay-at-home mom. And once you drop the kids off to school, then your morning routine starts. Because then you have that time to say, you know what, I can set this time to say, I'm going to take this morning time. Now the kids are out of the house, husband's out of the house, everybody's out of the house. I'm going to set this time for myself to really intentionally do the things that I want to do. That might be, like you said, exercising. It might be journaling. It might be reading. Right? It might be setting goals, setting your intentions for the day. And so I think that it's important to understand that building a morning routine doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't have to happen overnight. Don't set yourself up for failure by saying, oh, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. And when the clock goes off, you hit that alarm, you hit that snooze button because you're not ready to get up. And then when it doesn't happen, because I've done this to myself before. And when it doesn't happen, you feel like, oh my God, you feel like you let yourself down. And so don't get into the habit of trying to set goals that you really can't keep. And which brings me to the second habit is consistent goal setting is one of those things that you'll notice about high achievers is that they are laser focused on their goals and not just their long-term goals, but the daily and weekly ones too. They break their dreams down into like actionable steps that they can track and measure on a regular basis. And that's what I mean by don't think about the big overall thing that you're trying to do. Set those small increment goals for yourself. And for you, that might look like sitting down every Sunday evening to kind of just map out your top 3 priorities for the week, which is important, right? You got time to sit down on Sunday evening. Maybe it's when everyone is in bed. Maybe when you get everyone's fed and everyone's off doing their own thing. You can sit down and focus on just 3 major priorities for the week. Don't overwhelm yourself with trying to say, I'm doing all these 10 things this week or 20 things. And then when you don't do something, we get so disappointed in ourselves. And that's the thing I'm working on myself, to stop feeling like I'm disappointing myself. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's just starting your day by writing down the key tasks that will move you closer to your big picture vision. Those are easy things to do, because the key here is to have clarity. And high achievers know that they know what they're working towards at all times. And they check in with their progress often. This is constant focus on goal setting helps them stay on track, and it helps them stay motivated. So being able to set out your intention goals, it's just something that just cannot be matched. And that would mean by set those small goals. Work on the small things. Don't try to do it all at once. Don't try to be an overachiever. You know what I mean? Like, it's a difference between a high achiever and then an overachiever, right? Don't try to be an overachiever. Just start off small and start taking these small steps towards you doing certain things high achievers do. It does not mean like you strive to be a high achiever. It just means that some of the habits that they have, you can actually adopt into your own life to help you reach your goal of what you want to do for your life. That could be just that dream life you always see for yourself, or either starting that business that you always thought you was going to do. Those are the things I'm talking about. And one of the third habits that I see them doing, and through my research and actually interviewing some of these high achievers, is that they embrace continuous learning. The most successful people don't stop learning once they reach a certain level of success. And I think that is so important. I think some people think that, people get success and now that's it, they're done. No, you have to continuously be a student of life. They make learning a part of their daily routine, whether it's reading, listening to podcasts, like, of course, the Girl Take Note podcast. Now, shout out to us, right? Attending workshops or taking online courses. High achievers always expand their knowledge. And it's so important to do that. So ask yourself, how can you create space for learning in your life? And it doesn't have to be time consuming. It could be 15 to 30 minutes a day to focus on learning. Learning can have a huge impact over time. It doesn't have to be nothing too much. And if you're someone like me, I can tell you right now, someone like me, reading is hard. Like, reading a physical book is hard for me to do. So if reading isn't your thing, audiobooks and of course podcasts are amazing alternatives. Perfect for listening on your commute or during your workout or like while you're cleaning the house. You know what I mean? I'm an audiobook kind of girl. I tell people this all the time. I'm such an advocate for audiobooks because I feel like with audiobooks, I'm able to listen to the motivation and the type of encouragement that I need while I'm sitting at my desk working, while I'm, like maybe just cooking, or while I'm cleaning the house. And I do that often because for me, it fits for me, right? It might not fit for everybody, but it definitely fits for me. And so being able to always be continuously learning, to know that you're never going to be that person that just knows it all. It's just, nobody knows it all. We all are learning. We all are still learning. Life really does surprise us a lot, right? So we can't say that, I got it all figured out. I don't believe nobody has it all figured out. I believe people have great processes put in place, right? But nobody has it all figured out. Everyone has different perspectives. Listen, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to learn, trying to drift through life and trying to make it on our own. That's what we're trying to do, right? And so another habit of theirs, the fourth habit of theirs, is prioritizing their health and fitness. And this might come as a surprise, but many high achievers credit a huge part of their success to their prioritizing health. It's not just about aesthetics or hitting the gym for hours every day. It's about creating energy, mental clarity, and resilience. And as you get older, focusing on your physical health, right? Your mental health is so important as you get older, because it's not about, being skinny or, you know what I'm saying, reaching a certain weight goal. It's about being healthy. It's about being strong. It's about being fit, you know, and physical activity, even something as simple as just going for a walk, and it releases endorphins, right? It reduces stress and increases clarity. It's not just about looking good, but it's about feeling good. And that allows you to show up as your best self in every area of your life. And we know that 100% because when we feel good about ourselves, right? When you feel good about yourself, you are confident, right? And it just kind of seeps into every area of your life. So just imagine right now, if you're feeling drained or unmotivated, it might be time to look at how well you're taking care of your body. When you feel good physically, it becomes easier to push through challenges, right? And stay consistent with your goals. And so let's all get into a habit of adopting some type of physical activity as simple as walking, because it does help. It really do. No matter what people tell you, having some type of physical activity does help, and being able to feel good about yourself. And you see, that goes back to confidence, right? If we talk about it, it really goes back to confidence. We can talk about confidence all day, but a part of confidence is how you feel about yourself. And how you feel about yourself has to do with how you feel about yourself inside and outside. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. And I stand by that 10 toes down. I really do. Now, I want to talk about how we have to practice gratitude. So that's the fifth habit of high achiever. And this one is powerful, yet it's often overlooked. High achievers make it a point to practice gratitude daily. And if you listen to some of the conversations of those who are truly successful, you will hear this in their conversation on how much they talk about gratitude, gratefulness, right? Paying it forward, being able to give back, add value to others, to help others, pull others up. So whether it's writing down 3 things they're grateful for each morning, or reflecting on the positive things from the day before bed, gratitude keeps them grounded and focuses on what's going right versus what they believe is not going right. Gratitude also rewires the brain to focus on abundance rather than scarcity, which helps in maintaining a positive mindset. Critical, especially when you're facing challenges or setbacks in your life. So to start simple, each day, take a few minutes to reflect on something you're grateful for. It can be as small as a good cup of coffee. And honey, let me tell you about a good cup of coffee. I got to sit up for this one because I am grateful for a good cup of coffee and how it makes me feel in the morning when I take it. Or it can be as big as landing a new job. The key is consistency. That's what the key is. And so being able to practice gratitude and to know that you're grateful for the small things in your life. We don't have to wait until something big happens in our life to say that we're grateful for something. And I think that's like one of the things that we do a lot as humans. We look for the extravagant things to happen, right? The big things to happen to say that we're doing well in our lives. When we need to be grateful just for the small things. You know, sometimes you just gotta be grateful that God even allowed you to wake up this morning. You woke up, you're in your bed, you're comfortable, you're in a space that you're safe in, a home that you built, a home that you provide for you and your children. It doesn't matter what the struggle is. If you might be struggling with paying the bills and maintaining things, the fact of the matter is be grateful for the place that you are in, because there's people who are far worse than you. And so being able to be grateful for the small things that we have is such a huge part. You know, being able to visualization is so important also in the mornings, which is not one of these habits on here, but it's a part of a morning routine before you get out of bed, to close your eyes and just visualize how you want your day to go, how you see yourself reacting throughout your day. Those are all parts of creating routines, or creating intentionality, to intentionally say that I'm going to have a great day. I'm not going to say I'm going to have a bad day. I'm going to have a great day today. And those are habits that you have to continuously work on every day. But being able to visualize it is one of those great things, and setting that intentions also help. So habit number 6 is building a strong network. And let me tell you, I feel like every time I do an episode when it comes to just high achievers, just those who achieve great success, those who I interviewed on this podcast, they always talk about a strong network. They say your network is your net worth. And high achievers take this to heart. Successful people surround themselves with other motivated people, right? Other motivated individuals. They actively seek out mentors and peers, communities that can push them to grow and improve in areas that they feel like they might be lacking. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have a giant social circle. It means cultivating quality relationships with people who inspire you, who challenge you, who hold you accountable. You know, it's just that simple. You don't need a lot of people to do it. It could be somebody in your life right now who's just going to hold you accountable to the things you say you're going to do. Or somebody that you feel inspires you because of their work ethic or their tenacity or their resilience on how they can just push through obstacles or challenges or setbacks in their life. And it doesn't mean they have to be some famous person or some popular person. Like my mother is one of those people that I've always looked up to because her ability to raise all these children by herself, her ability to still see hope and prosper through setbacks, through adversities, through being a single mom and doing it on her own. And so that's what I mean by it doesn't have to be some famous person. Famous people doesn't always have to be the people we look to when it comes to our life inspiration. It could be people who are just right next to you, people you know. It could be friends and families, or it could be anybody close to you. It could be anybody you've come in contact with. So just pay attention and build yourself a network of people that can hold you accountable and really help you grow in places that you feel like you're lacking. And if you're wondering how to start, you can just begin by reaching out to people in your industry, joining online communities, or even just attending like networking events. But I would tell you to start first with your own inner circle. Your own inner circle of friends that will be there for you and support you and not judge. Because when you're on the journey of becoming an entrepreneurship, or when you're on the journey of just pivoting into a new career, doing something different, you need people who have done it before. You need people who are positive, who can motivate you and help you stay on that track, to know that you're going to face some adversities, but don't give up. Right? You need a person in your life that has been through some real shit, but never gave up on themselves. That's the kind of person you have to need. Because remember, success is a team sport. It's not just a solo thing. It's a team sport. And number 7, high achievers take time for reflection, right? And this is one of the most important habits of high achiever. Is taking time to reflect. They don't just push without stopping to evaluate what's working and what isn't. Regular self-reflection helps them make adjustments, celebrate their wins, and learn from their losses. This might look like journaling or taking time once a week to sit down and kind of just review your progress. So ask yourself, what went well this week? What could I improve? Where did I grow? These are questions not only help you stay on track, but they also allow you kind of like to fine tune your approach for even greater success. Being able to look back and see how things went well and being able to know how things did not go well, it really does help you not repeat the same things over and over, which will drive us insane. So, and most successful people will tell you that you need to regularly review your process. You need to understand what worked and what didn't work. So therefore you don't make the same mistakes going forward. Because even if something didn't work out, there's a lesson to be learned from there. There really is, because some pieces of it worked, but there's some pieces of it that just didn't work out, which is why you couldn't actually get to the next level. But now that you know what doesn't work and you're ready to go to the next level, it really does help to say, you know what? Okay, I've already learned what obstacles I can move past, right? But I also know what doesn't work. So now I could put things in place that are actually going to help them benefit me. So you learn so much from failures. So don't be afraid to fail on things. You know, I'm not telling you to expect to fail, because that's unbelieving that type of manifestation, but don't be afraid of it when it happens. There you have it, guys. That's the daily habits that high achievers use to unlock success. And remember that you don't have to adopt all of these habits at once. You just start with one or two that really resonates with you. That's all you really do. Like I said, don't overwhelm yourself, and you just build from there. Because success, and we have to remember this, and I know you've heard people say this, success is a marathon. It is not a sprint. It is not a sprint, honey. If it was a sprint, we all would be super tired and out of breath and wouldn't do it. But by being intentional with your habits, you can absolutely get there. You really can. So I really hope that today's episode really does help you guys. And so thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on the Girl Take No podcast. I hope you found some inspiration and actionable takeaways in this conversation. I really do, because it's been one of my favorite episodes, because talk about habits of successful people and high achievers. It's something that I love to kind of like research and analyze, just to see how I can adopt those things into my own life and to helping me becoming the best that I can be in my business and with this podcast. Now, if you love this episode, please take a moment and rate and review the podcast, as it does. It does help us it just helps more women like you discover our content and start their journey to become successful. So until next time, I am your host, Shaunie Sanders, and I want to remind you that success is within your reach, one habit at a time. I want you to stay focused, stay intentional, and as always, girl, make sure you take note. I'll see you guys in the next episode.